Hello out there. It's Camille Jamerson. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Life at the Half. Today's episode, like many before, is going to be absolutely phenomenal. We're going to hit on a subject that I think you guys will really enjoy. If anybody knows anything about me, my friends imply that I can be kind of a glam bot, as they say. And I've kind of adopted as my theme song, The Glamorous Life by Sheila E. I heard it at my senior picnic in 1984. I will never forget it. And it does kind of describe me to a degree. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of shied away from it and have taken more a hard knocks approach, which is why this show is called The Hard Knocks Life. And a lot of that is due to just my drive, my passion, my got to get it done kind of attitude. And I've steered away from some of the softer, more glamorous things that I used to enjoy. I mean, guys, I used to be a pageant queen, for God's sake, right? So then enter this whole soft life era. It was started on TikTok, from what I understand, actually from some Nigerians in the Gen Z crowd. And there are a lot of misconceptions as to what the soft life is, what it isn't. But what we're going to talk about as it relates to Gen X is it something that we can adopt? If so, how, why, what are the benefits? What are the downsides? What are the misconceptions? And I thought of nobody else better to talk about this than my business bestie. Katrina Mitchell is a life alchemist, as we call her, an amazing coach. But in addition to that, she's also the owner of Fundamental Spa here in Pleasant Ridge, Michigan. And if that wasn't enough, she is the gracious host of the Soft Life Soiree, which just happened a little bit earlier this year. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to bring Katrina into the studio to discuss the soft life, what it means to her, what the soiree was all about, and how can Gen X adapt to it from here. So would you guys help me welcome my business bestie, Katrina Mitchell? Hey, hey,
Hello.
how are you, buddy?
I am excellent.
Good,
Thank
good,
you.
good.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for joining. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about you and then kind of end with how you got to the Soft Life Soiree and what that was all about? What was your goals as that was concerned?
Okay, awesome. Well, I am Katrina Michele. I am the proud owner of Fundamentals Relaxation Spa here in Pleasant Ridge, Michigan. We are a full service day spa. We offer massage, facial, manicure, pedicure, everything you need to feel wonderful, relax, and be well, and have a luxurious experience. But what makes us different is that I am a certified health coach.
Right.
And so I have a passion and a keen understanding of self care from an emotional standpoint. And so I try to infuse that into everything that I do. So you're not just coming to fundamentals to relax, but you're also coming to relax and be well. And that's really important to me. We've been in business for this is year 20, to be 23 in December.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
I have been serving our community as a massage therapist and owner for the last 19 years um, of our existence. And so my heart and my passion is to help women live a healthy and whole and balanced life. And so it was reignited in me after my mom had cancer. And she was a woman who worked into her 70s, but she had a very gracious balance of work and play. And
Mhm.
after she passed away, I started studying, how does she do this? What am I missing? How do I live and provide the best legacy? And I wanted her legacy to go on. And so that took my business and shifted it on its head. And I really began to see self-care as important to your well-being and to the longevity. And my mother
Right.
was a person who really she took care of herself like many of our mothers and grandmothers did. So,
Hmm.
I don't think the soft life is anything new. Our grandmas did it.
How about that?
Yeah. And so I think we got away from it in our generation. This over performance thing has pushed us to the point where we look at taking care of ourselves as one more thing to do. And
Mm.
so my goal really with what I do is to help women incorporate self-care and the soft life into everything that they do, and it not become a chore for you, but something that you really enjoy and embrace every opportunity that you get.
So how did the soiree come about? And I was there for it, so I can definitely give my take on it, but I want you to kind of walk through, how did you get there and how did you begin to curate that experience for ladies?
Wow. Well, the Soft Life Soiree was an event held at a beautiful estate in Metamora, Michigan. Um, Sitting on 20 acres and trees and deer
Mhm.
and fireplaces and jacuzzis and all of the things, that we
Yeah.
think about for the soft life. And it was such a blessing to me because this was something that I envisioned probably 15 years ago.
Wow.
I wanted to bring women together so they had an opportunity to experience sisterhood. Spa services was secondary, but what was most important to me was the transformation of the woman. And I
Mhm.
wanted her to really them to let their guards down and to relate to other women. um, I have two sisters, and my sisters are my backbone.
Yeah.
And so I learned that not every woman has good female relationships. It might be might have a broken relationship with your mom. You may not have good girlfriends, but I wanted to create a safe environment so women had that opportunity to just be.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to orchestrate it and make it be something. And
Program it.
yeah, because again, I like order. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, well, I want this and I want that. And those things,
Mhm.
some of those things happened, many of them didn't.
Mhm.
And every time I tried to write something down, I got nothing. So I said I was just going to let it be. And so um, it was an amazing experience. And I asked one simple question: tell me your name and what do you love about yourself? And it became such a important and transformative
Yes,
experience for
it
all
did.
the women there. And it was just super powerful. So I think, like I said, the services that were provided were secondary. What was most important was really getting an experience of the soft life, which could mean so many different things to so many different people, but it comes from a place of self-love first. And
And
so that's
yeah,
why.
that was where I was going next. It's like, well, how do you define soft life? And what does claiming that soft life, what does that look like? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think that, for me, defining the soft life is anything that nurtures your soul.
Mhm.
And um, it could be reading a book, it could be talking with a friend, but it's something that takes you outside of the everyday hustle, everyday, grind.
Yeah.
It takes you outside of that and it transcends you into another space. And so, again, it can look different for everyone because I'm a person. I do self care. I get my hair done, nails done, lashes. So I do the self care things, but you know that's all on the outside. In the meantime, my brain is just fried.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Because
so
when people hear that soft life, they immediately go to facials and manicures, and I think that's a part of it. But yeah, if you're not well from the inside out, I
correct.
don't know that that translates into a
Right.
soft life.
Yeah, and I've seen people say it's tapping into your feminine side and tapping into your femininity. And yeah, that too, but I really think it's more um understanding that your body needs time to rest and to slow
Yes.
down.
So in essence, it's tapping into your humanity, not
Absolutely.
necessarily your femininity or masculinity. It's your humanity. You're human, and you
Yeah,
have a craving.
I think it's tapping into your humanity and tapping into your divinity as well.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Because you have to slow down and really hear what your body needs,
Mhm.
what your spirit needs. And, you know, because again, our body could be saying, "Oh, get this massage because I'm human, and if you rub on me, I'm gonna feel good." But the
Mm.
spirit man may be saying, "Yeah, but you need to go over here and talk to somebody because you need therapy."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think it's a balance of the two. For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I like that. What
yeah.
what's the difference between, because one of the, I guess, negative things that I've heard people attribute to the soft life is this laziness, like, oh, so you're just going to lay around and not do anything, whatever that means. So what's the difference between the soft life and laziness?
Um, that's interesting. I don't think. Well, to me, the soft life is active because you're doing something.
Mm,
You're not just laying there and doing nothing. So either you're going on the outside of you and taking care of the human side and doing something, or you're resting,
yeah.
and you're taking care of the inner man. So I wrote down an acronym for rest,
Ooh.
um, and the R is for release. And so
Mhm.
let me back up. So the reason why I was praying before this, and I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to say? Here we go,
Mhm.
Camille. You got me thinking, right?
Right.
And so I said, I think there's a negative connotation with rest. And
Yes.
so that goes to what your question was about laziness.
Yeah.
If you want to have a lazy day, then what's wrong with
What's
that?
wrong with that? Right.
There's nothing wrong with rest. There's nothing wrong with
Mhm.
being lazy. There's nothing wrong with staying in your pajamas all day. And it
Yes.
took a friend of mine to tell me, it's okay for you to rest, but a lot of times people think rest means inactivity, and it
Mhm.
doesn't. So that's
That's
when
so
I got
true.
this acronym. So the R is for release.
Mhm.
So, when you're resting, whether you're laying down, whether I'm sitting watching TV, you're releasing what's on you for the day. You're releasing the negative thoughts, or anything that's really binding you. And then the E is for embrace. And that means just to be in the present moment. A lot of times our thoughts are all over the place. So I can't be
Yes.
present here with you in this podcast because I'm thinking about
Think about
what I'm
this.
eating because
Mhm.
I'm hungry. So it's like I am.
Right.
Um,
It's like same, but
yeah.
okay.
But yeah, so we can't embrace and be in the present moment.
Mhm.
So I think that's important. So the E is for embrace. The S is for support. Sometimes we need other people to support us in our rest. So whether that's
Mm.
accountability, it may be support through therapy, but sometimes you
Mhm.
need someone to say, "It's okay, girl. You got,
Unplug. Yeah.
unplug. You can do that."
Yeah.
And then sometimes the support comes from your spouse, like giving you space to unplug,
Yeah.
because as women, we're all feel like we're always on, um, with our family, our friends, and all that.
Mhm.
And then the T is for transform. And
Nice.
I think that true rest is transformative. We know if we get a good night's sleep, we're transformed.
True.
But even if it's not sleeping, if you're resting at the spa, you're going to come out better, come out, with clearer thoughts, come out and ready to take on the world in a different way. So the negative connotation of rest and laziness needs to go because there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Did you find it surprising or odd that this whole, um, kind of thought process came from the Gen Zers? It came from the kids, so to speak. Because in my head, I'm like, how y'all got time to rest? Y'all don't have no money. You got to work in my head. I'm just like, how does
Mm-hmm.
that work? But I
Mm-hmm.
think they're onto something. And it reminds me of when our age group, we started saying little things like, hey, you need to treat yourself.
Yeah.
It's like an evolution of that. So tell me your thoughts about that. Were you surprised that it seemed to be the younger people that grasped that faster? And is it an evolution of what we thought, or you think this is something totally new?
Um, yes, I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I had saw something about the soft life prior to the soiree when I was looking
Mhm.
for a name. I Googled it and I was like, these are kids.
Yep.
So what is
What?
hard?
Yeah. Right. Like, what are you doing that's so hard?
What are you doing that's so hard? But because I have nieces and nephews
Mm-hmm.
and mentees in this age group, I know that they had a high standard of overperforming because of the pace of things in the world and the internet. So they felt that they had to keep
Absolutely.
up. So they were
Mm-hmm.
burning themselves out in their 20s, you
Yep.
know. And so, though I was surprised that they um, discovered it so early, because we weren't thinking about that in our late 20s, early
No, not
30s
at
at
all.
all.
Mm-hmm.
um, I see why, because
Mm-hmm.
they were completely out of balance. And to be honest, they didn't really have us as an example
Right.
because we were grinding too right along with them,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was a surprise, but I do think that um, every generation realizes that there is more to life than me working every day and burning myself into the ground. And sometimes we don't realize it until we're flat on our backs, either at the end of our lives or some medical
Listen.
crisis
Yep.
or something's happening and you're like, oh crap, like I need to do something different.
Right. I
And
need to
so
live.
yeah, so I'm grateful for that generation that gave us the wake up call to say, you know, I don't want to be like the people, my parents. I don't want to be
Right.
like
I
this.
don't want to do that. It's
I
like
see the
I'm not trying
direction.
to work 50 years and get a watch and then I'm too sick to enjoy retirement.
Yep,
You
yep,
know, that I mean they're totally pushing back against that. And to your point, I totally, when you put it that way, I understand why the world is so much faster than it was when we were that age.
yes,
And for them to try to jump into a double dutch, you know, and keep up at that pace has to be exhausting. So I
yeah,
see why they were just kind of like, maybe not, you know, not so
yeah,
much,
and
or
I
at
think
least not the same way.
yeah, and I think it shows great emotional maturity for them to say, I don't want to do it
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
You
Very
know,
in touch with what's
yes,
happening.
yes, and so I applaud them for that because again, we need them to be sane
Yeah.
because they're going to be our caregivers and our legislators and our presidents and our doctors.
Listen,
So I need,
that part.
so
If
I
you're gonna be
appreciate,
taking care of me and the old folks home, I need you to have your mind together.
I so appreciate it. Yes.
Wow, that is such a good point. Well, okay, so we're gonna get ready to take a break. But I'm gonna ask you the question and then we'll take the break. And when we come back, you give me your thoughts on it. Most of this talk about the soft life that I hear has been about women, but I have heard a few things as it relates to men. So can men really adopt a soft life? And if so, how? And if not, why not? So, dun, dun, dun. Guys, if you're listening in, I told you I try to keep my programming balanced so you will glean something from it as well. Stay tuned. And ladies as well, because this is something you want to, information you want to sow into your sons, your nephews, husbands, boyfriends, etc. So stay tuned. We'll be right back when my business bestie answers this question. See you soon. Hey, everybody, and welcome back. I'm here with my business bestie, Katrina Mitchell, here on Life at the Half. And in this episode, um, it's the Hard Knocks Life, which is what it's named. And the subtitle is Can Gen X Rebel Against Grind Culture and Embrace the Soft Life? And before we went to break, I asked Katrina a question that I'm going to yield the floor to have her answer here. And what it was is that we talk about the soft life, and everything that you hear about it has to do with women. Not everything, most of the things that you read have to do with women. And I asked if men can embrace this kind of soft life era, and if so, how? And if not, why not? So, Katrina, what do you think?
I think yes, they
Oh,
can.
okay.
I think they can. Because men, you know, they're human. And
How about that?
so the soft life is a choice and it's a decision. Now, is it easier for them or as easy for them as it is for women? I don't think so,
Mhm.
because men are providers and they're producers. And
Mhm.
so when it's time for them to slow down, they think something is wrong,
Mm.
and they work till they can't work anymore, because by nature and nurture, they're supposed to provide for us
Wow.
and their families. So I think it's just a little bit more difficult. However, I believe that their version of self care is, they go get their haircuts. And that's why that
Mhm.
barbershop culture is so important, because
Absolutely.
technically that's their soft life experience.
Yeah,
They're
that's
in,
their spa.
that's their spot. They're in the
Yeah.
barbershop, they're having a great time, they're built their community, they have the community of their brothers, and it gives them a chance to get away from their everyday routine, even though, and they do that more routine than most women.
Yes.
Like, they're gonna get their haircut.
Absolutely.
They're
Oh,
gonna get
yeah.
their
They
haircut,
get that fade, that lineup,
absolutely.
beard tight. Yes.
Yes, so I think that from the perspective of services, yes. And I also think that more men are really embracing and talking about mental health more
Mhm.
than ever. And so that part of the soft life where you realize that you really don't have to perform like a machine. Yes, you have to
Yeah.
take care of your family, but do you do it to the detriment of your health? I feel like there's a shift that's happening. But just like many things, women, we got to coax them into it and let them know that it's
Yeah.
okay. You
Good.
know,
And I was gonna ask kind of what's our role to kind of
yeah,
help facilitate that?
yeah, I think it's just, being supportive to them and letting them know that it's okay. And I don't judge you because you want to take a nap,
How about
you
that?
know, and if you want
Like,
to
lay down,
unplug,
bruh.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to unplug, I support you
Mhm.
in that, and I'm not going to look at you any less because you're
Yes.
taking some rest. And then I'm not expecting you to jump up and now run and perform. I want you to experience that transformation after rest. So you
Yeah.
come back better to me because you're not grinding.
Yeah.
So I really think that it's, as a couple, um, male and female, we need to support one another and give um, each other the opportunity to experience the soft life together, because
Nice.
then it becomes generational. Because if you see your
Yes.
parents doing it, then you know that it's okay. And so,
Right.
for me, my parents experienced the soft life together in a lot of respects.
Mhm.
My father fully supported my mother in her travels, and he bought her clothes and made sure she was good and looked good and felt pretty and smelled good, and she was
Nice.
able to do that. And interestingly enough, my mother was the primary breadwinner, and my dad was a
Mhm.
stay-at-home dad.
Hmm.
And so he was the first person taking me to get a manicure. We went to the
Mhm.
barbershop and I got a manicure. So,
Yeah.
but he was a strong, powerful man, but he realized that there was a place where he wanted to make sure that he was groomed, and that it made him feel good and it made him feel powerful. And so
Mhm.
I feel that generationally, um, I feel like our black women and black men embraced the soft life and embraced self care in a way out of necessity, because you had to. My dad used to say, "I don't want to look like I work in the fields, so I'm gonna
Oh,
make sure I get a manicure. I'm not gonna wear any jeans." My father never wore jeans. I'm gonna get my hair
wow.
cut because I don't want to look like I work in the fields. And
Mhm.
when our mothers and grandmothers would get dressed to go to church, it's because you didn't want to look like you was scrubbing the floors. So
Yeah.
we had the it was the same paradigm,
Mhm.
whereas theirs was done out of a different necessity. Um, and again, our generation somehow in there lost it again. And maybe it was because we had the house key around our neck when we were 6. I don't
Period.
know. I don't
Right.
know.
I don't know.
I don't
And
know
that
how we
that
fell off.
because and that takes me to my next question, because Gen X is known for their work ethic, which isn't necessarily a negative, but too much of anything can be a negative.
Sure.
So we're known for our work ethic, we're known for our hustle, we're known for getting the job done. How can we make the shift to embrace even a part of that when it seems to go totally against the grain of what we've been doing for the last 20 years?
We just make a decision.
How about that? I knew you was gonna say that.
Yeah, because it's not hard. Like,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that again, because we our drive and determination, yes, it was, we were created that way, birth nurtured and birthed that way. We came out of the womb,
yeah. Punching the clock.
punch.
Like clank. I'm here. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
started work at 14. I was begging to get a
Same.
job at 12. Like it was just
Wow.
like.
Yep.
So I just think now you just have to make the decision to reprioritize
Mm,
and give yourself permission that if you fall off, it's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up about it because I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I'm going to reassess and make the decision again to take care of
hmm.
myself first.
Yeah.
And so, it's just really about making yourself a priority and, getting rid of that strong black woman complex where I have
Yes.
to perform.
Hmm.
And you don't, you have to live.
Yeah.
And so,
It's like
there's
the
so,
show is over.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
done performing. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and I think that there's a disconnect between the high level of performance and the high level of stress and the high level of disease that's in our community. Like
Mm,
there's a total disconnect.
hmm. It's like
And
y'all see
so
how that go together? No. Okay.
no,
Oh,
we
oh,
don't.
okay. All right.
We don't
We
until
don't.
you go to the doctor and you're like, I don't know why I gained 15 pounds in this. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, how about those cortisol and those hormone levels? Oh,
Oh,
how about
wow.
that lack of sleep? Oh,
Oh, right. You're like, oh,
mm.
that got something to do with that.
That's got something
Oh,
to do with that. So yeah, I
oh.
just really think that it's making that decision, and it's also having someone to hold you accountable.
Hmm.
Um, which I think you and I do a relatively good job at that.
I think so.
You
I
know, I
think
think
so.
I think that's important to have someone just to check in on you, and it's like, what you doing? Are
What
you
you
sitting down?
doing?
Are you
Yep.
sitting down?
Right. How about that? I'll never forget the text I got from you that you asked me. I was in the middle of grief with my mom, and you were like, "Did you shower today?" And I was like, "Did I read that right?" I'm looking at my phone like, and then I had to think. I'm like, "No, I didn't actually." And so I don't think I answered you right away. I went and showered, and then came back like, "Yeah, of course I showered today." Trying to act all big and bad like I did, but that accountability was so important and to have people thinking about your well-being when sometimes you're not putting yourself as the priority.
Yeah,
That I think that's critical, and Gen Xers really have to be intentional, I think, about building those networks and those circles. We had an episode, one of the first ones was about building friendships and how
mhm,
we've gotten away from that.
yeah,
It's become hard. Back in the day, it's like, do you want to be my friend? Check yes or no.
yeah,
And that's how you made friends. But now we have to really be more intentional about building those relationships and nurturing the ones that will keep you accountable. So, as a Gen Xer, because we're older, we have more exposure. In most cases, we have more expendable income. You would think it would be easier for us to make some of those shifts. But I have found that it's harder. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, for example, and I really struggle with this. I meant to tell you this before I taped that episode, but I taped the episode about three things that I'm fearful of. And one of them was I'm fearful of what other people will think about some of the decisions that I make. So, one of the things I've been toying with is getting a housekeeper. And all of a sudden, I felt like, oh my God, I can't get that. People think I'm trying to be this, that, or the other. I'm trying to be uppity. It's like, no, I just want my floors clean and I don't have time to do it. It's
yeah.
and you feel yourself like you have to explain as to why you're doing things to take care of you. And I know that's crazy, but I know that there are other people that think the same way. So what do you say to that?
um,
Not to me, because
what?
I'm gonna get myself together, but to the others out there.
Why is it hard?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that it is hard because we're so used to judging ourselves. I
Mhm.
don't think that I was just having a conversation with someone about something. I don't remember what it was, but just to use your example, no one would know you had a housekeeper but you.
Nope. Nobody.
So, what's all the mental gymnastics for?
Isn't
Like,
that
nobody is
crazy?
going to know. And if they did, the people that loved you be like, girl, what's the number? So they can come clean my house.
That's
Like, come on,
yeah. Yeah.
So I think that we tell ourselves these stories in our head that I have to be at a certain elite level to have these particular services when you don't. You work every day. And
Yep.
so you just like you pay to have your car washed or your mortgage, it's just a amount of money that's allotted to do something that you want to do.
Yeah.
And so, but for some reason, and again, it's probably something cultural because culturally,
Yeah.
our black folks, we were the housekeepers, we were
Housekeepers.
the maids.
Yeah.
So to think that now I get someone to do that service for me almost feels like it's something wrong because
Yeah, like,
again,
who am I to have something like
yeah,
that or
because
yeah.
again, it was a class system. It was based on a class
Yes.
system, and it was based on access because you had the money to give you the access.
Yep.
But we now have that, so we
Yeah.
have that expendable income. I just think that again, we place judgments on things, and it really isn't right or wrong, good or bad. It just is.
Is.
And if you
Yeah.
just want to do that, then you just do that, And so I think that, and it's easier to spend for us to spend money on a handbag than to
Yep.
take that same $1,500 and spend it on something that's really going to be beneficial to you because now you're going to have more time, you're going to have more peace if you have someone cleaning your home.
How
But
about that?
instead, you take that 3 grand and put it on 2 handbags, and then you were like, shoot, my laundry is in the corner and my floors
That
is dusty.
I got
And
laundry
now,
in the washing machine right
right,
now.
and now I'm
Yeah.
mad because I can't even carry my handbag because I got to clean the floor and do the laundry.
Right. I'm carrying this laundry basket. That's what I'm carrying.
What you carrying? You
While we
carrying you carrying a Louis Vuitton laundry basket.
that is so true. Well, I was so frustrated that I was having those mental gymnastics. I'm like, Camille, seriously? I mean, and it's not that you're trying to be suchy much or whatever. It's like I'm over it. Can somebody just clean my windows? That's
Yeah,
it.
I think it
And
comes.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I think it comes down to feeling like that you are worth it,
Yeah.
and we feel like we're not. Personally, I'm not worthy of
Yep.
it. You'll
Yep.
never articulate that, but that's really what it
But
comes
that's
down to
what you're
is that
saying.
I don't
Yeah.
value myself and my time enough to have someone to come in and to support me in this way.
Wow. That's
And
gonna leave a
so,
mark.
yeah,
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Katrina.
oh, you're welcome.
Right. You're so helpful.
You know, here to help.
So, okay, we talked about the benefits kind of a soft life and what what that says to you, what it says to the next generation. So I'm going to ask you that tough question. Are you going to keep doing these soft life events to keep the legacy of your mom alive and well? I know I'm
Oh,
just buttering it on real thick. I'm sorry, y'all.
oh,
Y'all should have been there. It was so nice. It was amazing. So, and if so, kind of what do you see this evolving to? What would you do? What do you want to do differently? What do you want to do more of, less of, etc.? What does the next phase of this look like to you that we're going to start planning really soon? I'm sorry, I
can
said
you
that
like
out loud.
unsign your business bestie contract and be
I
like,
don't think
oh,
so. I'm gonna
oh,
look it through the contract right now. I don't
okay.
see that line. I don't
And
see
then
that
you can't
line.
get out?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, I think that so in the ideal world,
Mhm.
if I had all the resources and the time and the energy and minus all the mental gymnastics that it takes me to plan things,
Yes.
the next phase would look like soft life soirees all over the world,
Oh, yes.
and they would be destinations. Um, I think that women traveling and experiencing culture is just such a fun way um,
Mhm.
to just connect, you know. Um, so that would be the ultimate, just to,
Mhm.
we could go to Paris and stay in a chalet. We could go, to Santorini, Greece. And I just like, I
Yes.
want to go everywhere, and I want to
Right.
see crystal clear blue water and all of the things.
Yes.
Um, and so I feel like the soft life soiree will become a movement,
Mhm.
um, and a community. Ultimately, that's what I want. I want women to connect on a deeper level and to build friendships, because again, it is
Mhm.
hard as you get older
Yeah,
to build friendships. And
absolutely.
especially in the world of social media, people, they judge and they think they know you, but they don't, and then they don't really want to try to get to know you. Then they meet you outside of social media, like, maybe
Yeah.
they don't like you, and it's just a lot. It's like high
Yeah,
school. It's
it
high school reverse.
is.
It's
Yes.
like just high school on your cell phone
Yep.
all over again. And so I think the opportunity to really forge meaningful relationships, um, can be provided with a soft life soiree as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, will I do it again? Camille says yes. So
I'm
then,
giving her the side eye for those of you
there
who
is
are
a yes.
listening, like
Yeah, it was an amazing, amazing
mhm.
experience, and um, I would love to repeat it again. But as I was sharing with Camille prior to the show, um, sometimes when you do events, weddings, birthday
Mhm.
parties, cooking dinner, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we as women, we overperform at a level that's so high, and we're pushing, we drive, and we try to make it perfect. And then when it happens, you can't even be present in the moment
Yeah.
because
You're
you've done
depleted.
so much to
Yeah.
bring it to pass. And so that's what I experienced. And so would I do it? Yes. Would I do it differently? Absolutely. Because I
Mhm.
don't want to do a soiree and then I'm gonna have to recover because I did a soiree.
You're gonna have to take a soft life soiree in order to
Yeah,
get over the one you just
get
did.
over the one I just did, because
Yeah.
I wanted it to be perfect, and
Yeah.
nothing is ever perfect,
Right.
but it had to be a certain way.
But that's
I
the total antithesis of what the soft life is. It's not about overperforming, it's the
absolutely,
flip opposite. So,
yeah,
wow, that's powerful.
yeah, and that's what I was afterwards. I was like, I think I did this wrong.
Like, "Wait a second, did I do
Yeah, and
that
then
wrong?"
there was so many glowing
Yeah,
women and people
yep,
talking about it, and I felt amazing. But after all y'all left, I was like,
tired
oh
now.
God.
Yeah, yeah,
So I learned from that. And
yeah,
that was actually a lesson in soft life for me. Like, so we fall back into our habits, like you were just saying. Why is it so hard for us to shift? Because
mhm,
it's not in our nature. Our nature is to grind and to produce and to do all the things. So this is stepping outside of, and I think that's where it goes back again to the difference in being in your humanity and stepping into your divinity and saying, okay, I really want to pour into this from my spirit
yeah,
and not from my humanness, because my humanness had to have the matching napkins and the
you
gold rim
did,
plates.
you
She
did,
wasn't gonna rest until she got
and
those
there
plates.
were gold rim plates. I was there, I set the table myself, sure did.
Yeah,
Mhm,
so, but the
yep.
spirit was probably like, they don't care.
Like, "Girl, they don't care, as long as the bacon is good, they don't care."
They don't care.
Yeah,
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 so I think it's just really learning to tap into that soft life as a lifestyle,
style, yeah,
and when you find yourself outside of that, bringing yourself back and saying, one, like we just talked about, why am I doing that? Like, what
yep,
mental gymnastics am I going through, and why?
yeah,
And I think that helps us to recognize our behaviors and then it's an easier shift,
Yeah. That's good.
versus going through the mental gymnastics and then falling into depression because you went through the mental gymnastics, and then not addressing whatever the issue is. And so I feel like we have a tendency to do that because we don't want to show any form of weakness,
Wow.
so um
Ew.
yeah, so I feel
Yeah.
like just helping women embrace all of that as a lifestyle really is the root of the soft life for me, and the soft life soiree. And so as we evolve and find a way to do that in a way that is not super heavy, because I didn't want the soiree to be like therapy. Like I didn't want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wanted it to be a fun bonding experience, and it was. And so
Yeah.
if I could repeat all the feels for all the women, because I did it for them, I did it for
Mm-hmm.
um, them to experience it, and I was just used as a vessel. I was a stressed
Mm-hmm.
out vessel, and I was tired.
But you
So
were a cute vessel, though. I
I
will say
was
that
cute.
you were cute for the
Um,
good of the group.
yes. So I believe that doing it in a different way will be a better blessing to everyone, because I can perform from that place of peace versus a
Mm-hmm.
place of over performance.
Yeah, like they say, you will be giving from your saucer versus from your cup.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So those of you who might have seen my birthday post, one of the things that I want to commit in this birthday year is that, this is one of the things that I really want to work on embracing. So thank you, Katrina, for sharing this and for eventually holding me accountable for doing this better, because now of course it's a goal, so now I need to do the soft life perfectly. So I
Right.
got right, it's
Like,
like like you're doing it wrong. Stop it.
stop it. Like,
Right, because I'm on the whiteboard like, okay, now what does this look like? So if I do this and it, I'm like, I don't think this is how this is supposed to
this
go.
is not supposed, it's not. It's
It's
not.
not.
It's just,
So
yeah,
you
it is
well,
the
you
polar
guys stay
opposite.
tuned. I'm gonna circle back and talk about this and let you know how it's coming. And when Katrina comes back for season 2, we'll talk about kind of where we are with this. So, Katrina, I usually end with my guests asking a couple of questions. The first one is, what book are you reading, or what book do you recommend? As you know, I'm a big book nerd, so I love asking this question.
I am actually reading right now. It is called, I'm gonna tell you in a minute. I want to say that it's called. Now, do you listen to you read your books, or you listen? I know you're a reader, but
I
do
do
you?
both. I do both.
Okay.
I have the Audible in the car, and then if it's a book that I really like, I go and buy the hard copy so I can
Okay.
mark it up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm reading a book called Oneness with All Life,
Oh,
and the author is Eckhart Tolle,
okay.
and he's a New Age
Mhm.
thinker. But what I like about it is that it really talks about being in the present moment, um, and it's approaching life and God in a way where you're always aware of your divinity, and
Nice.
always aware
Yeah.
of what's going on and why you're there, why you're present in that present moment. Um, it's been really transformative. It's a little esoteric in thinking,
Mhm.
but I think sometimes we need that stuff that's gonna make you rewind like 17 times, where you're like, wait a
Like,
minute,
wait,
what?
what? Right. Like, say that again, say it again, say it again.
Wait a minute, oh, that was good. What?
Yeah.
It's one of those types of reads. Yeah.
Nice. And what's the name of it again?
It is called Oneness with All Life.
Oneness with All Life.
Yep.
Everybody. So that's Katrina's book recommendation. Now, the second question, think about Katrina at 13-ish years old. So I don't know if that's eighth, ninth grade. What are 3 words that describe what you were like then?
13. 13. So long ago. Um,
It was not that dang, Katrina. You make it sound like it was hundreds of years ago.
feels like 100 years ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, was I had
What's that
okay.
like? Eighth, ninth grade,
Yeah,
maybe.
I got a picture where I was. So 13,
Yeah,
I think I was coming out of eighth, going
going into
into
ninth.
ninth. Um, so I would say curious,
Mm-hmm.
um, intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
and bold.
Mm. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
What would you tell that 13-year-old now?
Um, whatever is happening to you now is not will not define you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to hold on to that curiosity, and that boldness, and that it'll take you farther than you realize.
Wow.
Um, don't allow these present circumstances to steal your joy or to make you operate in fear.
Oh, I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Now, would that 13-year-old had listened?
No.
I never asked that of anybody, but I was like, I could ask Katrina that.
She
Right?
wouldn't
It's
have
good.
listened because
Oh
she was
yeah,
13. And so she thought she knew
do
everything. And
everything.
she knew
Yep,
she didn't know everything, but she was so bossy and so bold and so brash that she was like, okay, look,
I got this.
I got this. Like, I'm
Yeah,
13. What?
I'm a whole teenager.
I'm a whole teenager. Like, I'm getting ready to go to private school and do all the things. Like,
All the
what?
things. I
You
love
know?
it.
Yeah. So no, she would not have listened.
Well, Katrina, I want to thank you so much for joining me for this episode,
Thank
even
you.
though it was pseudo by force, but that's okay. You got
It's
to do
okay.
what you got to do out here in these streets when you got to get your
Absolutely.
business bestie on your show. I want you to take a second and tell people where they can find you if they want to link up with you and find out what's going on at Fundamentals and in your coaching world.
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Fundamentals Spa. And then if you want to connect with me personally, I am on Instagram and Facebook as Katrina Michele with one L Mitchell.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys recognize that it is Katrina Michele with one
One L.
L. Um, and if you're following me, she's following me, so you can find her in my followers if you're looking for her. Or just DM me. I will make sure that you guys get connected. Well, thank you, ma'am, for joining me.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
cannot wait till you come back in season two. I'm already putting that out there right now. So
I
just get your
see. I
life
see you
together.
doing
Yeah, I'm slick.
it.
I'm slick. You see how I did that? Just boom. Season
Mhm.
two. So all right. Thanks, buddy. I'll see you
You're
soon.
welcome. Okay.
All right. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. That was an amazing episode. And I'm really serious, like I said, that the soft life is one that I'm looking to work harder to embrace. And I know work harder to embrace the soft life, that sounds like an oxymoron. But one of the things that Katrina said is that you have to make a decision, you have to be intentional. And so that does take work. But I think the ends justify the means, because I don't want to get all the way to the end only to discover that I did not embrace some of the best things in life and some of the softer things in life, and that everything doesn't have to be hard. And that's really difficult for me, but we're going to work on it. We're going to work on it together. Okay. So you share with me kind of what you're going through, and I will be as transparent with you as well. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. If you or somebody that you know would make a great guest for the show, let me know. You can drop me an email. We've got a new email address. So, lifeatthehalf@gmail.com. Real simple to remember, lifeatthehalf@gmail.com. Shoot me a message. Myself or someone from my team will certainly reach out to you. Our website is up and popping, lifeatthehalf.com. And from there, you can find everything. You can find the podcast. You can find us on YouTube. You can find our social media. Make sure you're joining our Facebook group, because when the season ends, that's where we're going to continue the conversation until the next season begins. So, again, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been my pleasure being your host today. And as we embrace this softer life together, nobody will be cheering you on louder than us here at Life at the Half. Take care.